Hi, I'm Shalina Tobin, aka Nosh Nosh Gal, and today I'm with Tony Singh, MBE. Tony is one of the UK's best loved celebrity chefs. He's appeared in many TV cookery programs, including the BBC's A Cook Abroad and The Incredible Spice Men, as well as regular appearances on The Great British Menu, Saturday Kitchen, and Ready Steady Cook. Tony was crowned Scottish Chef of the Year. To top it all, in 2017, Tony was awarded an MBE for services to the food and drink industry and his significant charitable work. A big welcome to Tony Singh. Tony, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you for having me on your show. Yeah, so really cool.
Well, thank you for joining us. So before we start, there's actually just something I'd love to know. We all know and love you as Tony Singh, but your real name is actually Rajinder.
That's right. So
How
my
did
real
that
name's
come about?
my real name's Rajinder Prithi Singh, right? So, in Punjabi, tunni means belly button. So I had an outie when I was growing up. So my granny called me Tunni. So from that Tunni to Tony, it's just like the Italians tortellini, the small pasta shaped like a belly button. So that's how I got Tony, and it stuck. So even at school, you know what I mean? Everybody else, like my big brothers called Pupinder and Prabjot and everything, traditional Punjabi names,
Yeah.
Sikh names, and I was called Tony. So I thought, isn't everybody? So there you go.
That is a brilliant story. I love that. So let's just kind of dive into the current challenges. How are you spending your time during lockdown?
I have my never-ending list from the boss lady.
You're not the only one.
Well, I think yeah, but whoever, and it's not just from Butcher and my wife. It's like stuff that we've been trying to do. So I have tidied the shed. We have done the attic. I have been on the roof fixing a slate. We've painted the fence. Oh God, bit of gardening.
My husband's got it easy.
Has he not? Has he got easy? You need to
He's
crack
got
the
it
whip.
really easy.
Crack the whip. But the thing is, it makes everything go faster. When you work in the hospitality industry, your days are really full. So that's good. And also, obviously, cooking for the kids and everything. We've been cooking for a great charity called Help Them, Help Us, where we cook meals for the frontline staff at the hospitals, doctors, nurses, orderlies. So when we get a chance, we cook some meals for them, and it goes to the guys at the local Royal Infirmary. So yeah, kept busy.
That's fantastic. Well, speaking of your charitable work, I mean, you started doing that since you were 8 years old, cooking in the Sikh temples.
Well, this is it. It's a cornerstone of Sikhism, which is Seva, selfless service. And it's one of the reasons I got into work was Langar, which is a free communal kitchen instituted by Guru Nanak, or which got first Guru. And it was always a vegetarian meal. Everybody ate on the floor to show quality. It was accessible, and it was given free to everybody of every caste, colour, religion. So from then, I loved that. I loved the whole aspect of food nurturing and bringing people together. So yeah, I've always loved cooking.
Yeah, and that's continued throughout your career. It's absolutely fabulous. So speaking of feeding people, you started supper clubs in 2018. So how did that go?
Right. So we had restaurants and everything, and 2008 when the crash happened, we had a bit of a turbulent time. Lost a couple. Kept Oloroso, which is our flagship, worked all the way through, and then we sold that in 2014, 15. And if I knew more television work was coming, I've kept it. But the pressure, having a restaurant, pressure immense. And you have to be a business person. You have to be a chef, and you have to be a business person. And there's not many chefs that are business and creative. You mean you've got some great chefs out there, but you know that I'm good in the kitchen, figures and everything, really hard. And the supper club thing came because after we sold the restaurant, I was doing pop-up restaurants. So we've done pop-ups for weeks. We've done a couple for a couple of years, a couple of days. And the reason I've done pop-ups and everything is to reconnect with guests. Because if you're a chef, you're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You're cooking. You're not out there front of house. You don't see your guests. So that was the thing. So I never done that. And the supper club thing was, we're in the house. When we moved home, we got the kitchen designed so I could do the supper club. And this was the far off thing. When I'm going to retire, I'll still do some cooking in the house. And then I thought, well, we'll do the supper clubs now. So 12 people come to the house. It doesn't need to be a group of 12. It can be a mixture, 6 twos or 4 or 3, and you know what I mean, a mixture, and you come and you meet different people. And it's an old-fashioned dinner party. You come, aperitifs, canopies, and you've got a lovely 9-course dinner, there's wine.
Yeah.
And the best thing is you don't have to do the washing up, so it's at the house. And what happens at supper club stays at supper club, so it's just good fun. And you're there mixing with people, and it's back to good hospitality. There's great restaurants out there. There's even chains that offer good food, but that atmosphere and that good hospitality is gone because people want to turn tables quicker. It's all about profit and margin, which it's always been a business, but it was always secondary thought. Now you have to have a solid business plan, you have to have this, you have to have all that in place, and the customer is just a number. But with the supper club, everything revolves around the customer again, or the guest basically. There's only 12 of them, so it's a brilliant experience.
Yeah, well, the idea is really appealing. So did you think of televising it, or did you want it to just be really private and intimate?
Well, it's that thing. There's a couple of concepts I'm looking at with Cyrus where it'll be something similar, and we will do something that's televised, but the one at the house is very private. We've had some A-listers in, can't tell you who they are, and the other guests are shocked because, oh, who's this sitting next to us? We've had a fantastic West End musical singer that was in, and I didn't know one of the other guests, her all-time hero, and she brought her dad for his 80th birthday, and he sang for them.
Oh,
so
how
fabulous! It was amazing, you know what I mean? And you can't make these things happen. It just happens, and it's great, and it's always private. But guests can take pictures and everything like that. But we try to keep it as private as possible, so it's an intimate, close experience for them.
Well, that sounds absolutely amazing. If I lived closer to you, I would have been there every single time you'd be having it. Believe me.
Well, you need to come up next time you're up in Edinburgh. Give us a shout, and we'll get you in.
Definitely, let us know when it is, and we'll be there. So,
okay.
So you did when you did Cook Abroad. How did India feel like to you, and did it feel like home? Did it resonate with you in any way?
Yes, no, and yes. Yes, because that is my heritage. My great-grandparents came from there, and we went back, and it was amazing, and you were there. No, because you are just one person in 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
You're there, and you've travelled, and it's a shock. It's a culture shock. And yes, because we were in Punjab and Delhi and my family, so it was like just going to your family, you were meeting people, and Punjabi hospitality, everybody welcomes you in, so it was amazing. You know what I mean? So yes, definitely, but going from the West to India, wow, shock. But I loved it. This year we were meant to be, I was meant to be down in South India, actually now to do a food trip, because when we've only been in the north, and that's when everybody says, "Oh, do you know about Indian food?" and you look at them and you're going, "That's weird." You try to say, like, "Do you know Indian food?" Like, "Do you know Italian food?"
Yeah.
It'll take you 2 lifetimes to understand Indian food. It's like Italian food in the 80s. Everybody thought it was spag bol and lasagna, and then later on 90s, oh, it's regional, and we do this, and there's different food, and you use butter in the north, and it's all over. India's like that. It's got 28 states. It's huge. It's a subcontinent, you know what I mean? And the food changes from the top to the middle to the bottom. And I want to do that. And that's one of the things I can't wait to get into.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw the clip where you went into your grandfather's house. That must have been amazing as well to see.
Oh, I was just amazing. I'm so blessed to see it, because one of the things when we looked at the show, we wanted to try to go to just outside Lahore, which is now Pakistan, but the family was from there before partition. So we wanted to see if we could go back to the actual village where the family was from. And it was just, couldn't get the visas or anything. So once they were forced to move in, the refugees, they ended up in Amritsar and to the house that were there. But this was a stranger, and they let us into their house. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. That's why the welcome and the hospitality is there. And it was stunning.
Yeah, it's the Indian culture, isn't it? They're just accommodating, and my house is your house. They want to feed you.
Oh God, yeah, your guest is your God. This is it. That's that whole kind of thing.
So I love the chemistry between you and Cyrus Todiwala. So in
Yeah.
the Incredible Spiceman, that was
Uh-huh.
fabulous. How did that relationship come about between you guys?
Well, in 1999, there was a competition for ITV Chef of the Year for the Millennium, so ITV Chef of the Year 2000. So that was the first professional cookery show on television, and it was regional, and then was semi-finals and finals, and I won it.
You
So,
won.
pardon, yeah, I won. So I won, and I was undefeated champion because I never ran it again. But there were some big names. There's some people that taught me. It was in there, like Jeff Bland from the Caledonian Hotel. I was against him, and it was just some big, really names. And I was lucky enough to win. And at that time, I'd heard of Cyrus because he was doing Indian food with the best British produce. And because I'm classically French trained, I was doing French or British food or European food with an Indian twist. So I phoned Cyrus, and if you've ever met Cyrus, you know Cyrus, he's such an accommodating, generous guy. He says, come down. And we went down and met him then, and then we've been friends ever since.
Oh, brilliant. That's
Yeah.
really lovely. And
Yeah.
are you both going to continue to work together on other shows?
Well, we're going to get the band back together, as they say, because we've got more time. We've got TV ideas and everything. We just need some production companies, because the way television's delivered now, there's so many platforms, from YouTube to Netflix to Amazon and everything like that, and how the BBC are just buying it in. So if you know any production companies, or if there's any production companies watching, me and Cyrus are brilliant. Just come and speak to us.
How are your Bhangra skills?
Well, if you watch Cook Abroad, they're not bad, but when I've had 2 or 3 drinks, I'm amazing. So I think that's everything. So when I'm sober, they're probably fair to middling. When I've had a drink, I think like every father or old uncle or everything, we are just amazing.
Yeah,
probably terrible
I think
when
you
I'm
all
sober.
need a few drinks to be able to bounce and pat the dog and screw the light bulb at the same time.
Well, this is it, but that's old style now. The stuff that the youngsters are doing now, yeah, it's really good. It's great, and I just love Bhangra music. It's fantastic. So
If I put some music on for you, would you be happy to do a few moves for us?
And my chair Bhangra like that. There you go. I can't even hear it.
That's brilliant.
Chair Bhangra. That could be the latest thing.
So seeing as you've got the moves as well. So if not a chef, what do you think you would have been?
I was quite trained to be a Playboy billionaire, but like all the vacancies for YTS were gone, so I had to be a chef.
Well, I think that would have been quite fun, actually, with you.
I think I would have pulled that off quite well.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe in another life.
Well, maybe in this life, we'll see. Just making sure the wife's still there. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
So what's the best review that you've ever had, and who was the critic?
I think chefs get really caught up in reviews. Your last customer is your last critic, and you're only as good as your last meal. Yeah. Right? And this is it. And now I think that's forgotten. Critics wield a lot of power, and there's a lot of people out there. Everybody's a critic. There's so many platforms again. But I think the problem is constructive criticism is fantastic. You need that to improve and carry on. But what the problem is now, I think, because of social media, and a review the reviewer might think it witty, but he can destroy somebody's business, and that's livelihood. So you know what I mean? I try to say the people back in the day when we started cooking, my head chef said, look, a review is today's newspaper, tomorrow wraps up some fish and chips. So don't worry about it. Who cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I look at.
You must have some pretty harsh comments going on at home, though. Does your wife get in the middle of your cooking and say,
well, no, it's my kids. My children are very fortunate enough to be around good food all the time, from their grannies and from mum and from myself and everything. And when when we were younger, we've always taken to restaurants, and we're sitting there eating, and the kids are about 8 or 9, and they're picking the dishes apart. I'm going, shh, please, quiet, because as a chef, you know, sometimes you get some bad days and you get good days. Yeah. But the points the kids were making were quite on the thingy, on the button. If we had Instagram back then, it would have been fantastic bloggers. But no, they're quite, but they're not harsh in the sense of people have to tailor their expectation. If you go somewhere and you pay £5, expect £5 of everything.
Yeah.
So that's ambience, cutlery, crockery, food, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you're spending money, and that's the thing is, so if you've got a great welcome and you've had a good sandwich and everything, that's fantastic. If you've went somewhere and paid a lot of money and it's rubbish, then that's the problem. You know what I mean? If somebody puts themselves up to be the best and they charge you the top dollar, it has to be there. If you go to somebody's a nice wee Italian kitchen or something, you want a bit of pasta, which would be a fantastic. But if you're looking for a gastronomic experience, whatever that is, you know what I mean? There's all these words that get bandied around now. Oh, it's fine dining, it's this, it's casual. It's like when journalists that ask you, what would be your last meal, right? If that was magical, if you knew when you were going to die, right? So my last meal, so if you were in that realm of magic, I'd say I'd have a cheese and onion sandwich with my granddad because I never met him.
Right.
It's who you share your meal with. I've been lucky enough. I've travelled the world. I've had to eat in some nice restaurants by myself, 2-star, 3-star, and the food's been amazing. But the experience has been dull because I've been by myself. The staff have been attentive and everything. So it comes back. It's a whole thing. That's why the supper club. There's some really simple dishes I put on, and people are stunned.
Yeah.
Because they said we'd never order this. I said, well, that's a great thing with supper clubs as well, but it's a set menu. Yeah. And you're forcing people to try things they wouldn't normally try. Yeah. And it comes back to time, place, and how it's done. TLC, but tender, loving care, and that's the thing. So
yeah, you put
criticism. Sorry.
Yeah, you put it perfectly. I'm just saying that it is about an experience as well. It's about who you're with. It's about your company.
It is totally, and criticism comes easily. You know what I mean? If it's constructive, fine. All happy to take it on. And there's quite a few people out there, critics out there, that make their name and write in it. So it's witty and funny. That's great. But then you can destroy a business where somebody's put their livelihood online and then they've lost the staff as well. Yeah. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah, I'll remember that for my future reviews.
I think you're probably fair. You get harsh but fair reviews, but sometimes when people are just being witty for the sense of their own ego, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
So do your kids, do you think that they'll be future chefs, future budding chefs?
Well, my 2 elder children have worked with me properly in the kitchens. I used to have my son in the kitchen when he was 8. He always tells me I've never paid him. Yeah, he's probably right. So they still help me, but they've seen the hard work and everything. My eldest daughter, she worked with me for longer, so she's just finishing her MBA. Sorry, not an MBA, her master's. And my son, he is a bar manager at Dime, so he wants to look at the wet side. So he's a mixologist, but he hates me calling him that. But he's a barman. I like saying, like, I'm a chef. Yeah. Right. So he's a barman. He likes making great drinks, so he wants to open a bar.
That would be a really good partnership. You know, he works in the bar.
Well, totally. So he's going to do the food, the drink. I'll do the food. Oh, and the good thing is, all the things that he tries out, I get to taste. So it's brilliant.
So he gets you drunk, and you just feed him a load of food. Match made in heaven.
That is good. Yeah, definitely.
So, what does the next 5 years look like for you?
Oh gosh, I think it's going to be interesting, strange, hard for everybody. If you'd said to somebody at the beginning of this year that we're going to be locked down, Easter's going to be nothing, because traditionally the first quarter in the hotel restaurant industry is dead. So you've come over Christmas, you've got a little bit of money in your bank, that gets through January, February, March. Easter comes, you build up your reserves for summer, and the cycle starts again. There's lots of peaks and troughs, and that's gone. So even when we do come back from lockdown, if it's staged or not, there'll be casualties. Well, people's relationship with restaurants have changed. I'm not sure. I think everybody will be going out to start with. They'll want to go out and meet and friends, but people have started cooking more. They enjoy cooking more. I think one of the things the government need to take back from this is to teach cooking at school, because basic skills like bread making, soup, that's gone, but people are picking it up. So the next couple of years will be very interesting, very hard. Hopefully restaurants will pull through. For myself, hopefully we'll be doing stuff with Cyrus. The supper clubs will still be going on, and I'm going to try to get out to India at least once every year to do a different part of the country to see if people will show me the recipes, which they will, and just home style cooking, and that's what I want to do.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to see the rest of those episodes, actually.
Well, if somebody picks it up, that'd be great. I think that'd be great tailoring original material, but if not, I'm definitely going to do it for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely just going to go out and do it.
Fabulous. Well, I look forward to seeing what's coming up, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us on. Thank you.
And guys, if you want to catch up with Tony and see if he ever does his Playboy skills, then catch him on MCT Singh, is it?
Yes,
MCT
Singh.
On Instagram, and I'm at Posh Nosh Gal. Thanks, Tony.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.